Okay, so now that we have the cat eye backed up to the Duramax, so I can crawl into the engine bay and talk to you about the engine. Okay, but now that we're in here, the first thing you notice is probably the resonator is gone, because for some reason I thought that would make it sound a little better, which you really cannot tell a difference. But eventually this truck will be getting a bigger turbo horn, maybe a drop-in turbo, and most definitely a downpipe, because the factory one is such a restriction. It at least kills 15-20 horsepower. But the true 3-inch inner diameter turbo horn I'm looking at isn't but about $48, so it'll probably be the first thing I get done under here. Yeah, and if you look down here, you're probably like, oh, what's that big hole? Yeah, it's my factory air box that the previous owner decided to cut 90% out of. Because if you reach up in here, you can just press on my air filter. Not only did he do that, he cut out pieces that held down the air box. So, I mean, it's rattling around like crazy all the time. But in his defense, I guess he just didn't want to pay for a $400 cold air intake with the airbox. And I've yet to be outran by a pre-2016 Mustang, so that'll probably just never happen. And one more thing I noticed about the truck is when I first got it, I found out that the owner had some sort of off-road bumper on it at some point, because I was down here one day and I was wondering what these wires were. And then come to find out, this truck had fog lights at one point, and apparently he just didn't think to put a bumper back on that had fog lights, which doesn't really make any sense. But one day, if I can find a color match one, I will get fog lights again. And one thing I've considered but never really done was an electric fan swap, because I have the electric fan that I was going to put on a single cab I used to have, but I never put it on. But I don't really think this fan draws that much power off of the engine compared to what they do on the gas engines. And if you look right there, you can see the steel heater core hose connectors, because during that burnout a couple months ago, they just shot off and it dumped coolant all over the exhaust. So there for a couple minutes on the drive back, because it was just down the road, I thought that we had blown the head gasket because it was just dumping all over the exhaust, only to get here and find out just the little heater core hose had popped off. And I didn't lose but probably a gallon of coolant on the ride home. And I know what you're thinking, these headlights are absolutely disgusting. And yes, they're probably getting replaced along with the ones in the blue lower GMC. And if anybody who's ever driven a Duramax before and daily drives a 1500 cat eye or bug eye or anything, ever tells you they don't want a Duramax because they don't need it, they're lying, because they know they miss it. But like I said a second ago, pretty much all Mustangs are slow stock. This, they don't stand a match against. I mean, I've had one. We were racing one time and all of a sudden he just swerved into me. But eventually this truck will end up getting up pipes, down pipes, turbo horn, and somewhere in the future some 25% over injectors. But thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.